Every new blend borrows from the past, and the Saga Blend number 7, it is the perfect combination of timeless knowledge of traditional tobaccos and the newer balance that today's cigar enthusiasts come to expect and love in a fine cigar. Leveraging 6 generations of experience and tradition of the Reyes family, the Saga Blend number 7 delivers a unique, full-flavored, medium-bodied cigar. The cigar is highlighted by a Brazilian wrapper over a blend of Central American and Dominican tobacco. Available in 3 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Blend number 7 is sure to please and bring together past and present. Brought to you by Rocky Patel Premium Cigars. The sun-grown Maduro is hand-rolled at Rocky Patel's boutique factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. This triple-capped, hand-bunched, and hand-rolled cigar is accompanied by a gorgeous broadleaf wrapper. Well-balanced, rich, and decadent, it truly is a great addition to any humidor and worthy of bearing the long-respected sun-grown name. For more information, visit them on the web at rockypatel.com and be sure to follow Rocky Patel Premium Cigars on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Duran Premium Cigars, one of the fastest growing boutique cigar companies, providing smokers a portal into the old Cuban tradition of perfect balance and the lost art of progressive flavor construction. Roberto Pelayo Duran began his career in tobacco over 2 decades ago in Havana, where his reputation grew within Cuban circles. The creation of Duran Premium Cigars has given Roberto the platform to introduce a series of cigars that offer the same quality, construction, and detail which he perfected while in Cuba. Brands include the ultra-premium Roberto P. Duran Premium Cigar Series, Azan Cigars, Nea, and Barracoa. Duran Cigars uses a seed-to-humidor approach, as all tobacco is grown on their farms and rolled in their factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Rollers have been carefully chosen to carry out Roberto's precise method to ensure progressive flavor in each cigar. Duran Cigars invites you to make their premium your standard. Experience the world through the eyes of an icon with the new Macanudo Inspirado line. Created for a global palate, Macanudo Inspirado defies convention. Handcrafted with world's finest tobaccos, Inspirado delivers a unique international smoking experience. Find Inspirado Orange at fine tobaccos everywhere and Inspirado Black online and in your favorite catalogs. Ready to be inspired? Check out Macanudo Inspirado now at macanudo.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Well, I have a couple of interesting points, I think, before we get started on this segment, and it ties to this segment, as many of our listeners know. My wife and I just had our baby, our 3rd boy. We talked about having a cigar for that, the birth of your child, on last week's episode. And it's interesting. I went to a cookout yesterday. And I knew it was for my son's Little League. It's the end of the Little League season, and the coach was nice enough to have a cookout, and I brought cigars, of course. And they were all still kind of unclear, and the other coach was like exactly what I did, and I explained it all to him, and then I handed them the other two of the other coaches were cigar smokers. In fact, one of them goes to the Havana Club next door, so we're going to be getting together for cigars. So I handed him the Paul Gamarian 20th Symphony Robusto. And that cigar is smoking fantastic now. It's going to be really hard not to smoke all of them before my son is 18, I'll tell you that much. Because these cigars, I mean, they are fight Chuck Norris right now, Will. And the guys really appreciated them, too. They were like, oh, my God, this cigar is fantastic. I mean, I think it stood out above and beyond a lot of the other cigars that they had been smoking recently. And it did for me, too. And I probably smoke a lot more cigars than they do, being, doing the show and everything. So that cigar is fantastic, Will. If you can find that cigar, you got to buy it. A box, I'm telling you.
They're not hard to find, those, okay? They're not. They're very accessible. You just got to do some Googling. Email us. I can probably give you a couple of locations. You got to try the 25th.
Yes, I want to try that one.
And basically, it's been, do I break the Stogie Geeks budget and buy a box of those? It's a cigar.
If you share with me, it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's just, I think the reason is I want to basically get you. I want to see if you think because if you think it's a cigar of the year worthy candidate, then we probably should put our money where our mouth is. I want to get you a couple in your hands first. There's about 5 or 6 cigars right now that are in the running, and I think that is one that's in my running for cigar of the year now.
I really want to get the Gamarians on the show. I mean, we're both Armenian. We share that Armenian brotherhood. So
No one's covered Paul Grammarian cigars like the Stogie Geeks have.
Yeah.
This is going back to the days with you and Tim.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
we've always been huge Gamarian fans.
we have. I think so. It's time.
Yeah.
If Grammarians are listening, you have an open invite. Email us.
So the other thing is my review schedule finally got a little back on track. Now, it's not back 100%. I'm still kind of light on like notes and what the heck did I smoke. Like, I don't have a picture of that Paul Gamarian. Like, I'm so tired from a little bit of a lack of, not necessarily lack of sleep, but it's very much interrupted sleep. So I take kind of like, we figured out like a shift, right? So I take the baby. And lately, I realized I have to take the baby in the basement. Now, our basement's finished, and it's a walkout basement, so it's not like I'm taking the kid into a dungeon or anything, right? But I take him in the basement, got his little rocker sleeper there, right? But now my 3-year-old is very much into daddy lately, and you got to take advantage of that because that you never know when that's going to, right? You know, Will, you've got 4 kids, right?
Yep.
You never know when that's going to just stop one day. So he comes down. I take the baby downstairs. He's sleeping, so I let him sleep until he wakes up, and then I change him, feed him, change him, and then bring him back upstairs to my wife, who's usually up anyway. So that's kind of how it's been going. So it's interrupted sleep. So you do kind of weird things. Like my wife asked me to bring her a phone, and I hand her my coffee, which is just weird. And then you put things that you're trying to put something in the refrigerator, but you're putting it back into the cabinet, and there's like a carton of milk in the cabinet, which is weird. So you do kind of strange things. Just a great moment is I've been watching kung fu movies lately, Will, because I need something to just watch. Because sometimes I try and stay up a little later because he might wake up and I might have to feed him. Inevitably, when I try and stay up late, means he sleeps through the whole thing, and I've stayed up late for absolutely no reason and watched ridiculous 1970s kung fu movies. And I've been kind of like grooming my son on kung fu. I did that as a martial art for about 10 years, and so. My son's 3-year-old, he's down there with me because he wants to be near daddy, and I have a cot. So I got the 3-year-old on a cot, I've got the baby in the rocker, and I'm in the chair and I'm watching Kung Fu. And the beginning of the Kung Fu movie is doing Kung Fu, and my 3-year-old's tablet dies. And his iPad dies, and I'm like, oh, we're in trouble. So he rolls over and he starts watching the Kung Fu movie. About 2 minutes later, he pipes up, and he's like, Daddy, is that Tiger Style? I'm like, this is awesome. It was like one of those like the best parenting moments ever.
Oh,
I'm like, it's Eagle Claw, but I'm like, it kind of looks like Tiger Style, so I'll give you that one, right? It was awesome.
Now I got to ask a question because so that basement, I believe, is that where your 2 big humidors are like staring you in the face as you're watching this?
Yes. And I've been thinking about how I would set up a monitor on the baby and be in my workshop having a cigar at the same time. That's coming soon. Soon. As he gets in a little more of a routine, that's a reality. I mean, right now it's so unpredictable that I don't want to chance it, but he's getting into a little more of a routine now, so I may actually have some cigar time at night where I will smoke stronger cigars, which is a great segue, Will, because I'm smoking. And again, this is one I forgot to take a picture of, which goes back to my story of I've just been like doing weird things. So this is the new saga, the Short Tails. Short Robusto, strong tobacco, great flavors, very smooth. This smokes, I mean, it's a short Robusto, Will, but it might as well be a Toro for as long as it takes me to smoke these.
Yeah.
But it pours smoke. I mean, the 3 of us on Friday lit one up for the first time. Me and 2 of the production guys, Mark and Tyler, we all lit one up. And the ceilings are really high in both of our spaces here. The room was like filled with smoke. I'm like, what is going on? But it doesn't burn fast or hot, and it's got great flavor.
I love the flavor, but let me tell you, that is a powerhouse of a cigar.
It's really good. Yeah.
Now, I smoked one at 5 in the morning, and
that's the wrong time to smoke this cigar.
Wrong time to smoke it. My legs were like rubber after that, but it's very flavorful. So I'm not trying it, but I mean, when I'm saying strength levels for folks who can relate, I know folks we've talked a lot about Neanderthal.
Yeah, it's Neanderthal level. I'd give you that. Because I smoked in Neanderthal, that special perfecto-looking one. What's it called?
Yep. That is the HN.
Yeah, the HN. Oh, was that thing awesome? They got
But that's
even better with age, Will.
They do, but it holds its strength. Now,
Yeah.
I can't. The Saga, it's a little early, but in my opinion, it's the strongest cigar ever to come out of the Dominican Republic. I'm going to put that ahead of some Alito stuff. I mean,
It's strong.
Now, time will tell. Time will
Yeah,
tell.
see how it holds up.
But I'm telling you, if you want we were talking about that with Andre, full strength, full body, full flavor. That cigar, home run by Saga.
Home run. It's a box worthy.
I had it as box worthy, and let me tell you, if you watched our Stogie Geeks shorts when we broke the news on that, and on Cigar Coop, there's some pictures. You're gonna want that box.
That box is awesome.
It's awesome. Paul and I we got a box of those, and you can literally put the thing on your bookshelf.
You could.
Yeah, when it's
I
all
mean,
done.
put it in your humidor, but you could put it in your bookshelf. Empty.
Yeah,
put the cigars in your humidor. Yeah.
Yeah, and his pages. It's just they did a wonderful job on that cigar and that packaging.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have been smoking some stronger cigars too. In fact, I lit up Esteban Carrera's Black Cross in the Perfecto size.
That's a great blend, isn't it?
It is. I lit it up this morning, like right after I ate breakfast, and it was kind of early. My palate wasn't quite ready for that, but it was really good. I smoked it all the way through. I would say that cigar's box worthy too, Will. That cigar really impressed me. That was really good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I actually like the Bronze Cross better.
Those are good too. Yeah.
That's the Sumatra one. This is the Habano one that you were smoking.
Yeah.
I had that one at the show last year. Mark Thompson, who's been on our Stogie Geek Shorts, who's both of our represented. He's like reps. He's one of the few reps that covers both of our territory. Yeah, and he was telling me about that cigar, and that was a cigar that took a while to get out. Great cigar. Totally agree with you on that.
Good stuff. All right. So now that I caught you up on stuff I didn't take pictures of, Will, I'm going to turn it over to you. What have you been smoking?
I went and smoked. We had Fabian on a few weeks ago. I went back and smoked the La Galera Habano in the El Lector size. This is a cigar. It's a classic Habano. It's a classic. It's medium strength, medium body. It's got a ton of flavor. It's not going to do anything per se to reinvent what a Habano is. But it's like I said, if you want a good medium anytime, any day, I really like that 6x54 El Lector on that thing. Overall, I just thought at $7, it smokes a lot better than a $7 cigar, in my opinion. That being said, it's a great everyday rotation type cigar, one you can give out to almost anybody. I have it as a box worthy. They did a really Hochi Blanco did a really nice job on that blend.
Awesome. I do want to say, Will, that we are now broadcasting on YouTube.
Yes.
And we've made this switch. So if you don't watch the live show, you want to definitely tune into, subscribe to us rather on YouTube. And what will happen is it sends you an alert when we go live. So it's kind of like a little reminder. And I've noticed that more people tend to watch live when they get a reminder. And the streaming technology is exactly the same. You go to the same URL, stogiegeeks.com/live. Now, if you get the notification on YouTube, it'll take you to our YouTube channel. That's fine, too. It's all the same chat. There's a new chat in there that's even easier. So if you have a Google account, essentially, you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you're done. And you get notified, and you can chat with all of our live listeners. So we've got a good mix of listeners out there. Crux in there causing trouble.
I'm not wearing a bikini croc on the on the YouTube channel. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
On the outside, underneath though, it just the mystery will remain. But
Croc is a great guy, great cigar, a great supporter of the show.
Here late last year when we did our special episode. So
yep.
And I think he works for New Balance. Is it New Balance?
Great sneakers.
I love New Balance, dude. I bought this orange pair of New Balance. Dude, I get more compliments on these sneakers. They're awesome.
Yeah. And I've committed to Croc being a supporter of the show that my next pair of sneakers will be New Balance. And I will be going into my local foot store and purchasing them.
We have a New Balance store right in neighboring city, Cranston, Rhode Island.
I think we have some down in North Carolina for sure.
Go to the New Balance store.
Yeah, but
the customer service was really awesome.
I support.
And get a bold color. Go bold, Will. I'm telling you. I was hesitant at first, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Speaking of bold, I smoked some John Hay cigars, and you had heard of these, Will. I thought I was
Yes.
going to stump you with this one.
I can't say I know a lot about it. I've heard of this cigar. I didn't even know when you were telling this. I didn't even know the full story of this cigar, so I'm going to let you tell that.
Yeah, so
But I have heard of this cigar.
Our good friend Jeff Mann, he's a cigar enthusiast and comes on our security show. He actually flies up from Columbia, Maryland to come on our security show once a quarter. And he's a huge cigar person. And part of the way that I kind of compensate him for coming on the show and giving his time is I give him cigars. Every time he comes up, I give him a bunch of cigars. And I think he must have been in Pennsylvania and found this guy that made cigars and brought back some for us. And he said, this gift from John Hay, and all he wants to do is talk about him on the show. I'm like, yeah, I'll smoke them. Now, it's taking me some time because, right after he gave them, my wife had the baby, so it's taken me a couple of weeks to get to them. And, Will, I have some cigars to send you. I'll include some of these with it as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that, yeah.
The one I smoked was a Robusto. And I'm not even sure exactly which one it was. It wasn't labeled, and I couldn't find the equivalent on the website. So I apologize. I don't know exactly which one it is. I do know that all of his cigars are Pennsylvania. From what I understand, all tobacco comes from Pennsylvania. I don't know if you know anything more.
That was the part I did not know.
That's what Jeff was telling me. Is these are Pennsylvania? Maybe John is listening and he can correct us. Maybe he's gonna have to come on the show. But the Robusto was really good.
They do have some. No, they do.
They have some blends too, I bet, right?
They have some different blends on there. Do you know which one you smoked? Was it the Diplomat?
It had a dark wrapper.
This sounds like the commercial we did for Mark with Stogie Geek Shorts.
Yes. It was a dark wrapper. Again, there was no band on it or other information. I
don't think they're puros, but they do. Several of the lines do. We will find that out.
Okay. Well,
but
anyway, it was Diplomat. A Robusto with a... Go ahead, Will.
It looks like the Diplomat has a Pennsylvania broadleaf wrapper and binder and filler from Lancaster, Chester, and York counties, which are outside the Philadelphia area. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you smoked the Diplomat, which is a 6x47?
Yeah, it might have been. Could have been.
Okay.
Could have been. It was really good. I liked it. It was very smooth, and it had some sweet flavors that I think you get from that Pennsylvania Lajero. Very sweet, and I enjoyed it. It's a solid fiver, maybe with some age. I think the flavors would even come out even more, and the rating would go up from there. But I liked the Robusto a lot, or whatever size that it was that I smoked. Very good.
Interesting.
And I was hesitant to smoke a Pennsylvania Puro, right? Because we think of Pennsylvania's tobaccos as being included in as a blend. But I'm like, I'm going to try it. And there you go. I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay, there is a Cadet. There is a Cadet, which is a slightly shorter version of the Diplomat, which is a 5x49.
That was definitely it. It was definitely I would say it was a 5x40.
So it looks like you smoked the Cadet.
Very good. I would encourage people to try it. It was because it was different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't have that typical Nicaraguan twang. It didn't have the Dominican, all the flavors you get from the Latin American. It was different. Which is why I liked it so much.
Interesting, yeah. And what'd you rate that again?
I rated that a 5.
Okay, that's a solid rating.
Yeah. Back to you, Will.
All right, so, I smoked a cigar, I think, that maybe of some interest to you, but keep in mind, Rocky Patel's a sponsor, so let's be debonair, but the Ray Lewis Legends 52.
Yes.
This cigar, you have to go back 3 years ago. They were planning on doing the Ray Lewis cigar back in 2013, and the project, for whatever reason, it did get delayed. It was actually put on hold.
Was that because he was accused of killing someone, or?
No, it wasn't. Come on, no, there was something. Oh boy, I'm sorry. There it goes.
I said accused. I didn't, There's a whole story there. I don't know. There's multiple sides to that story, but whatever. You know what? That whole story doesn't impact the flavor of the cigar.
You got to put the cigar.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I looked at the blend of the cigar, Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Brazilian and Mexican binder, Nicaraguan Honduran filler, and then kind of putting Ray Lewis, big linebacker, ferocious linebacker, right? I'm thinking this is going to be a really strong cigar. I'm thinking this is going to be a kind of a powerhouse of a cigar.
It's going to be a killer cigar.
It's actually. Geez. Yeah.
I can't
I'm
help
glad
myself.
folks said,
I can't help
God.
myself, Will.
Oh my God. the views of Paul Asadorian do not reflect the Stogie Geeks.
Come on. People all over Brady for the pressure in a football. Never mind.
All right. Listen. Okay. This cigar, I was actually surprised. It's a cigar that's probably more medium and really strength-wise starts out more mild to medium. And it's not a cigar. Like I said, I actually found with the flavors produced with the cigar, there's a good balance of sweetness and spice on that thing. You get a little bit of that. You get a little bit of a dry fruit note, some of that baker-sized sweetness on there, some cedar. But what I liked about it, sometimes we talk about strength and body balancing out, but sometimes, flavor's got to kind of fit in with strength and body. And I think with this cigar, it actually did fit well in there. That being said, I've had the Gary Sheffield cigar, which I'll talk more about next week. But this one, solid cigar, it's 1250. I gave it a 5, which again is a very good rating. And I would say, smoke this cigar for what it is too. If you're a Ravens fan, Ray Lewis fan, you're probably going to want to smoke this cigar. It's a little harder to find the cigar. It's not a wider distributed Rocky cigar. I believe it's more being used at some of the bigger Rocky shops and events. But I did find the cigar at J&R. So if folks are looking, I know I had a few folks ask me where to find it. So you can find this cigar at J&R.
Not being a Ravens fan and a Ray Lewis fan, it'd be tough for me. You're going to have to unban this cigar for me, Will.
Yeah, you can do it, Paul. You can be fit. I mean, no, you will give it. I think it's due. It's a good morning smoke, actually.
Interesting.
Yep.
I smoked a Quesada 40th Short Robusto. Now I know, Will, you're a big Quesada fan. I mean, I am as well.
Quesada 40th. Okay.
So this came in, and I don't know if you've seen these, Will. This came in
the 5-pack.
The 5-pack, right?
Yep.
And it had the what's the Breaking Bad thing, the scientific equation.
Heisenberg. The
Heisenberg. Thank you. It had a Tributo. It had the Quesada 40th. It had an Oktoberfest.
It's the winter pack.
Yeah,
right?
And I might be missing one from there.
Yeah, that's the one they did some. Yeah, they did some cigars that were basically set up for winter type smokes.
Yeah, short smokes, short Robustos.
They're all 4x50s, and I believe the Quesada 40th anniversary was unique to that one.
Yes. Here's the Oktoberfest that I'm holding up right here in the short Robusto format. I tell you what, that 5-pack is really good. I smoked the Tributo, and I'm not a huge fan of the Tributo blend. In this format, it was actually really good.
The Tributo is one of those cigars that it's going to vary from size to size. I have like Tributos that are out there. That's an old. Tributo's already 6 years old. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, and I've tried the Tributo in larger sizes, and I haven't been too fond of it. But in that short Robusto size, it's really good. The 40th was really good. I gave it a box split in the short Robusto size. And so the ones, so there must be 4. I don't think I'm missing one.
No, you have. Okay, here are the 5. The 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
The Heisenberg.
Yeah.
The Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
The Tributo and the España.
Oh, I smoked the España too.
Yep.
Which was awesome, which was pretty awesome too.
The 40th, the Heisenberg, and the Tributo are unique to that sampler.
Yeah, because the España Short Robusto is the España Short Robusto.
Right.
That's always been a cigar.
And the Quesada Oktoberfest Kurz is also a regular. Is also a regular one as well.
If you can, I'm sure these aren't too hard to find. I tell you what, buy them up because it's an awesome little 5-pack to smoke. I've enjoyed every single cigar that came out of there so far. And I did smoke the España, and I smoked the España Short Robusto. It's one of my favorite cigars from Quesada. And that was smoking that one. I was like, I'm going to buy more of these 5-packs just to get more of my Quesada short Robustos because those are in kind of short supply right now. And so the 40th was good. I rated it a box split. So this short Robusto pack is a home run from Quesada so far.
Oh, yeah. Yep, the winter pack, yep.
The winter pack.
Yep.
Awesome. Back to you, Will.
Went back and took another look at the Hammer and Sickle trademark Maduro. We had them on the show, I know, late last year.
Yeah.
And I smoked a Churchill size of that blend, a 7x48. And pretty much what they did is they took the old Icon series. It was renamed Trademark because they had a trademark issue. And they popped a San Andreas Maduro wrapper on it. And I think when we were smoking them, I felt it needed a little more time. I think that blend's actually settled down really, really nicely. And what I liked about this cigar is it succeeded in a couple of areas. It was a good Churchill, where I felt the flavors kind of stayed for the majority of smoke. You know, sometimes you have those Churchills, those 7-inch cigars, those double Coronas, and we've talked about how they run out of gas and steam. This one kind of kept the flavors going. But again, what they did with this cigar, it's a milder Maduro. It's a mild to medium cigar in strength, mild to medium also, and closer to medium in body. I felt they kind of did a good job with that cigar. Now, where I think this cigar is a little different from the Ecuadorian Connecticut version is I think that Maduro wrapper is going to take away that the Connecticut version they did had a lot of complexity to it. But I think that Maduro is going to take away some of the complexity that you had off that Connecticut. Still a very good cigar. And it's won about $9.25 smoke for Churchill, maybe a little higher, but certainly worthy of a $5 in my book. Like I said, it was a little bit of a different Maduro that it kind of had that dial back, especially being the San Andreas. So definitely check that cigar out now. I think it's aging pretty nicely.
Well, I smoked a new to me brand, Manolo Estate. Have you heard of this one?
I have heard of them, and I want to. I know these guys have. I want to see these guys at the show this year. Actually,
yeah,
I've heard a lot of good things about this from some folks, and it's my bad I haven't smoked it yet.
Yeah, I smoked. I got this from Mr. J's Manolo Estate Habano in the Robusto format. It was a good cigar. It had some good flavors. Kind of a nice, clean, crisp flavor profile. A little bit of earthiness. It was really good. I gave it a $5. I think they did a nice job with this one against a new company to me, new blend that I haven't smoked before. I smoked one of them, and I thought it was a solid $5.
Yeah, they've been out for about a year right now, those guys. So,
okay.
Yep, and I've heard a couple of podcasts talking about these guys as well. So the guys I want to definitely meet at the show this year.
Now, I smoked their Connecticut, and I think my bar is pretty high for a Connecticut, as I smoke a lot of Connecticut's. This one didn't come together for me. The flavor profile was not there for me. It had too, I don't know, it almost like it wasn't balanced enough for me. It was just too much into a flavor profile of kind of like hay and tobacco that just didn't have the sweetness and creaminess. The Stogie Santa, it didn't know what it wanted to do with itself. So I rated the Connecticut from Manolo Estate a try one.
Okay.
But the Habano was good. The Habano was a $5.
Excellent.
So I tried them. In fact, I think I still have a couple of these left. I'll send them to you, Will.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff to send to you.
Yeah, just another thing I got to send to you. Our friends at Union Cigar, my local cigar shop, were one of the 12 retailers to get the Quesada España A size. So which total opposite, and it's going to put a very different spin on that España. So I want to get your thoughts.
Blend, yeah.
It's going to be a little different because it's an A size, but we'll talk about it in a future episode when you smoke it.
Back to you, Will.
So I smoked. This is one of the cigars I smoked, but I wanted to kind of talk to you about. It is a cigar by Ernesto Perez Carrillo, and I think we're getting close to getting him on the show, Paul.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I actually met with Ernesto. He was down in Greensboro at Pipe and Pint.
Nice.
And I have put the request out, and we just got to time that now. We'll do it after IPCBR. And I smoked out of the Ernesto's Humidor, the Colorado.
Oh, I did. I smoked one of those this week, too. Again, I forgot to take a picture of it.
Okay, I have a picture of it, so you can just steal mine. But this is an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper on this cigar. So there's it comes in that humidor, which is I know we've talked a lot about it. I think this is the forgotten of the three blends in that humidor. It really shouldn't be because Ernesto, when it comes to Sumatra, he's one of the masters at producing that. And what I'll say about this cigar, I don't think it's the best Sumatra he's done. I mean, there's some pretty epic Sumatras he's got. Most notably, I love the short run 2010 and 13. I think he's did a great job even on the inch with that. But but I still found it to be different. It wasn't like one of these Ernesto blend. It seemed like it had enough differences with this cigar.
Yeah, it's like intriguing to smoke, right?
It's intriguing to smoke, yeah. There's a great. I mean, when you retrohale this cigar, it's going to add a layer of complexity on this thing. I'd say it's more in the medium strength, more medium strength, medium body. It goes to medium to full. I like this cigar. Like I said, it wasn't the best one I've had, but it's still above average. And I would put this as a box split. So certainly, if you're going to invest in the humidor, you get that humidor. You're going to get 10 of those cigars in there. But if these were a box on their own, I'd split the box. I liked it because it showed another side to Ernesto blending with the Sumatra that I hadn't gotten before.
Yeah, I agree. It's a unique cigar in his portfolio and one that's just a pleasure to smoke.
Yeah.
It's just so easy smoking. And if you pay attention to it, you can pick up on a lot of nuances. Definitely retrohale this cigar. I agree. Because you're going to get some spice, but it's not going to burn or overwhelm your palate. But you definitely want to retrohale this cigar.
I agree.
I like the Connecticut out of his humidor the best.
I'm kind of. I still got to kind of assess the Maduro.
I do too. I haven't smoked as much of the Maduro as I have the Colorado and the Connecticut.
But you said now with that humidor, you can refill that humidor, correct?
Absolutely. You can order bundles of whichever one you want.
I imagine yours is going to be all full of the Connecticut.
I have already put in my order for a refill on the Connecticut.
and how do you do that? Do you go to your local retailer? Can you do it on?
I go to I've gone to Havana Club next door to order the refill on the Connecticut. So they're ordering that for me.
Okay. Yep.
I smoked a Christoph Habano. Did I talk about this? I don't remember if I talked about this or not, Will.
You might have, but I don't know I don't remember which size you did.
I smoked my second one of the Toro. It's a Toro size cigar. It might be a big Robusto. I don't know how they call it, but it looked like a Toro. And this is a totally new blend. And I was actually talking with Stogia Sander about this, who really likes this and actually agrees with me that it's one of Christoph's best releases. Now, I like the Christoph Connecticut, too. The original Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I smoked this Pissed Off. That's the other one coming out at the show.
I haven't smoked that one yet. Is that good?
It's really good. It's a stronger cigar.
Yeah.
It's not quite what I'd say that Glen Case Signature Series, which I think is his strongest cigar, but it's a stronger cigar, yeah.
What's his other... No, all right, so let me talk about the Habano first.
Yeah.
Because I smoked the Habano. I think it's a great cigar. When we talk about a clean, crisp flavor that comes from a cigar, this cigar is it. Just a perfect balance of spice, like a little touch of sweetness, earth. Like it just got that clean, not so much earthiness, but a clean, twang to it. Very, very smokable, very, very good. I enjoyed both of the ones I smoked, and I rate it box worthy. And definitely for the price, this is box worthy all day long. This is something I could see myself smoking a lot more of. Now, I also smoked the new Connecticut. The Connecticut for me was a little too mild, to be honest with you, from Christoph. This is their new Connecticut. It had some of those classic, like a touch of hay, a little touch of tobacco sweetness, but it was a little too amped down for me. Now, I only smoked one of them. I would smoke more to try them, because I liked what was the original Connecticut?
Well, they had the Britannia, and then they did that Galerones DR4.
Yes, the DR4 is the one that I actually like that one the best out of their Connecticut smokes. Even against their new one, that one is the best. That one I work into my regular rotation because I like it so much.
Jared said they tweaked, I guess, the Christoph Connecticut off the DR4. So it's, obviously there's some changes to it. It's clear from you smoking it.
Yeah, I think it's amped down, which isn't a bad thing for a lot of people. I think I'd try it again as you say you smoked a cigar like 5 o'clock in the morning. Yep. Try the new Christoph Connecticut at 5 o'clock in the morning. I think that might be the right cigar at that time. But for me, it was a little too mild for my taste. So
That's why we have profile. Everyone's profile is a little different.
that's it. And there are some Connecticut's that are amped down like that I will buy a $5 of, for example. And I would call that one a $5, and that's one I would definitely light up like first thing in the morning. Baby woke me up at 5 a.m. and then went back to sleep, and now I'm awake.
Yep.
I gotta go have a cigar.
Yep.
Definitely that. Yeah, and I rated the Connecticut a $5. The Habano is box worthy.
Wow,
that Habano's awesome, dude.
I gotta smoke. I have not.
You haven't tried it yet?
either.
Well, Jared gave me 2 samples, and I smoked them both because I liked it so much. So,
I'll have to
Mr. J's has them full in stock.
I'll have to hit up Stogie Santa, or I'll hit
Yeah.
up Anthony, my local rep, who's Jared's counterpart in the Southeast.
Yeah.
He actually gave me the pissed off. Glenn and him gave me the pissed off. It was unbanded. I think a lot of folks are going to be surprised by the pissed off. It's called the pissed off Christoph.
Yeah, Jared was really high in that cigar. He really liked it.
It's a stronger cigar. Like I said, it's not that. I think Glenn's signature series and Glenn's Criollo Maduro. Glenn's got some very powerhouse cigars in his portfolio. You don't realize it. The Criollo Maduro is another very strong cigar too. I'd say, but this is in the upper echelon. But it's not the strongest. But it's very, very good.
Back to you, Will.
So I got a couple of Davidoffs. I'll talk about one, and then I'll turn it back over to you before I hold off for the grand finale. So I smoked so I'm just going to say this. I think Davidoff right now is having a year to remember. I'm just saying what they've been coming out with this year, I've been blown away with. And here's another one that just comes along, and it's fantastic. It's the Davidoff Scorecard Edition 2016. So it's the golf-themed cigar. And it's a Habano Ecuador wrapper. It's all Dominican binder and filler. It's a 6x55 Grand Toro, a little bigger. And they come in the 5-pack boxes. So I believe you sent me a couple out of the 5-pack we ordered. And then one of the cigars in there has the golden band on it. So I believe you have the gold. You're in possession of the golden band, and I'm in possession of
that one's really
I have
good.
last year's, which I have last year's. This is actually the third golf cigar they've done. They did one in 2013. They did one in 2015. Now they have this 16. Wow, this was a great cigar. You know what it had? It had this a little bit of a honey sweetness at times. And it had a little bit of that salty component, which I found to be very, very interesting on this thing. I just found it had some really, really unique flavors, but yet it was classic Davidoff, Henke Kellner, had some of those hay notes in there, had some of those herbal notes in there, some of the black pepper. It's a medium strength, medium bodied cigar most of the way. I think they really knocked it out of the park with this one. And it seemed like that, we talk about, they only released it in one size, but it just seemed like this blended perfect with a 6x55. You don't see that size that often. You see a 6x54, 6x56. This is in between. They come in 5-packs, but I'd get a box of these. They're not cheap, $24. But I felt like I got my $24 worth of that cigar. I really enjoyed that cigar.
Nice. One thing about this Saga Short Tails, the ash will definitely, it has no regard for public safety. It will fall wherever it lands.
Well,
a couple of them landed all, and that's not a knock. I think that, I think that attests to the cigar construction. Ashes are going to fall where they may, and this one is, it definitely has a tendency to fall.
It does, but at the same time, you are doing the show, and it is a little tougher sometimes to maintain an ash while we're talking.
Absolutely. Yeah, I noticed when we were smoking on Friday, a couple of them fell on me in places where ashes just shouldn't fall.
Yep.
On equipment, keyboards, and down your sleeve, things like that. But construction on these are great. Mm-hmm. But the ash will fall.
Yep.
I smoked a Winwood. I don't know if you saw this in there, Will.
I didn't see that
Remember
one.
the Winwoods?
That was Robert Caldwell's original line.
I call this a throwback, right? Because these are the ones, were these factory fresh as well?
Well, he had, you have Linwood.
Yeah, I know. I spelled it wrong. Yeah, I put Linwood.
Linwood. I'm like,
it's a Linwood.
Okay. So this is one of the, this is not the factory fresh, actually. I don't believe this is a factory fresh.
This was the Winwood line.
Yeah.
And this
And
was
by
like
the way, I did not have a chance to go through your cigars.
yeah, it's okay. This was like a
Corona.
Corona Gorda size cigar, and it had a red footband on it. I don't know if that jogs your memory about what it was, but these were just kind of okay for me when they first came out. I thought they had potential, so I wanted to smoke them with age, and it really didn't wow me with age. Will, it was a try one for me. It was still kind of unbalanced, in my opinion. I had really high hopes. I'm like, I haven't smoked one of these in a while, and I have been going back and smoking his other line, which I can't remember the name of now. It escapes me. We talked about it on previous episodes because when I went to Vegas, I brought a bunch of these with me, and they were smoking. Some of them were smoking really awesome. Certain sizes were just smoking really awesome. Some of his factory fresh stuff was smoking really awesome.
This is the factory fresh.
This is the factory fresh, right?
Yes, this is the La Granada.
That's a La Granada?
It's the La Granada, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and this size was just it was just okay for me. And I think it's interesting that I smoked some of his stuff when it first came out, and some stuff I liked better than others. Now, last summer I smoked some of his stuff, and this is several years after it came out, right? And some of his sizes and some of his blend were just smoking awesome, Will. Awesome. And it smelled amazing on the foot before you lit it, and it smoked amazing. And now I smoked some of the other sizes, and they're kind of just okay. Like this one was a try one. So I think it was a great experiment, certainly, by Caldwell when he was working with CLE. I think some of his blends really did well, and it was a matter of, he did that factory fresh thing, and the idea was to smoke them as they progress. I kind of like that idea because as they progressed, Will, some of these cigars took off and they were really great, and now some of them are kind of tapering off. So I think it was a fun thing. So if you have some of these, I'd say smoke them and see where they're at now, and definitely still do that because you're going to be surprised. Some of them you're going to smoke and they're going to be really good.
I think more than anything, Caldwell as a cigar brand owner, we want to say blender. He is very much a size matters guy, and with even the stuff he's got out right now, there are certain lines that I will say smoke fantastic, and like I just had his Eastern Standard in a cakewalk, which is a pyramid, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that's fantastic, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the Silk Road, the Lancero.
Yeah.
And I think Caldwell will admit that there's certain cigars that kind of hit him better in certain sizes. So I don't think that's a knock. Again, it goes back to our philosophy. Don't knock the line till you tried all the sizes.
Yeah, you got to try them.
Yep.
And now they're not producing these cigars anymore, right? At CLA.
No, I think basically anything. I think the factory, they're not doing that. The Winwood brand's pretty much not really a part of CLE per se. There may be some still left over.
But if you find them, a lot of retailers I think are closing them out.
Yeah,
just because they're not making them. They're not in closeout. I don't want to say closeout and have people think that it's a bad cigar. Closeout is just a closeout, right? I mean, it's like anything else. Certain things sell better in certain stores and certain regions and whatever. And so you can find some of these on closeout. And I'm telling you, look for them on closeout because there's something, something special there in certain sizes.
Yeah, and Paul Joyle, I remember he was on the show and he said that. Sometimes it's just certain cigars, for whatever reason, they competed with other cigars. Maybe it was the wrong time. Doesn't mean they're bad cigars.
Paul, and then, Paul has I think he has 3 closeouts a year sometimes, Will.
Yeah, the tent sale used to be an annual thing. Now
there's 3. I just went to one recently, and I picked up a whole bunch of cigars.
I know. Yeah,
and there was not too long ago. I picked up another whole bunch, and they're going to do another
Casa
one.
Magna bunch, and now you got some of the Fuentes, right?
Yeah, and now in the fall they usually do another one, so that brings his count to 3.
Yeah.
And again, it's just stuff that's not moving for him. And these are cigars and brands that I'm like, these are awesome cigars, and I'm like sometimes it'd be like half a box out, and I'm like, guys, those are like one of my favorite cigars to smoke. Like, do you have a full box? Because I'll buy a full box on close, and they go in the back and get a full box, and they close them out. And that's just how cigar retailers have to operate. They have to cater to the masses that go to their store. And a lot of times, Stogie Geeks listeners, right? We're not the masses necessarily. We're like the Stogie Geeks. So we're like, no, I like that cigar a lot. I buy a whole box of those on closeout for $5 a stick. Yes, all day long. And it's not a knock on the cigar or whatever. It just wasn't selling for them even at that time, right?
Exactly.
They just have to get through their inventory.
Yep.
So, I think that does it for me, Will.
I got one more. I got one more.
I got one more too, so you do yours. Go ahead.
Okay. So I mentioned Paul Gamarian, 25th anniversary cigar of the year candidate. This is another one I'm going to put in there as a cigar of the year candidate. I haven't had an Oasis level cigar yet this year, and this one is not an Oasis level cigar, but it's a Chuck Norris cigar. And it is one I did not expect. You know, when I heard about this cigar, again, I didn't expect it. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't certainly a Chuck Norris rating, and it's the Davidoff Chef's Edition. So the story with this cigar is Davidoff brought in a series of chefs from Europe who kind of involved, I'd say, in, I don't want to say, they collaborated with this cigar. I don't want to say they were blending it per se. But I'm sure that they were brought in. And the idea with this cigar was to have a complement cigar with a meal or an after-dinner spirit. But they brought 6 leading chefs in from Europe to work with them on this. The cigar is a Habano 2000 wrapper, Ecuadorian Connecticut shade binder, and it has a bunch of Dominican fillers in there. It is in one size, a 6x54 Toro, 10 count boxes, $30. Okay, so the Davidoff it's a premium cigar. You're getting into that you're the snake, you're the monkey category with this. And what I will say is, this smoked like, it's not as Davidoff-esque as you would expect. It was more like an un-Davidoff-esque cigar, but it was really good. It had a lot. It started off with these notes of chocolate notes, and a little bit of chocolate nut flavors. Then this like chili pepper note comes in, like a unique pepper note, which I just didn't expect, especially on the retrohale. You're going to get this cigar. Again, these are not flavors that you would normally talk about a Davidoff cigar with. The other thing is, this has got some, it's more in the medium to full in terms of, it's got some body to it. It's almost a full-body Davidoff. It's just, I think, it's a spicier Davidoff than you're going to be used to. Because that chili pepper, so it is, in terms of complementing a meal. Here, let me just make one more point about the spice. The spice is not going to stick around with an aftertaste, which I think is the key thing with this cigar. So you get the spices, but sometimes you have a spicy cigar and then you feel it in your mouth for like an hour. You did not feel it with this cigar, but I love this cigar, and I gave it a Chuck Norris rating. It is really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, $30 though. I mean, again, you have to, we're getting into points where I'm not telling someone to go out and spend $30 on a cigar by any means. That's out of even my budget. But it is, for what that cigar delivered, I felt like I got my money's worth from it.
And which Davidoff was this again, Will?
The Chef's Edition.
All right, I'm gonna go search for those. If I can't find one, I'm gonna hit you up.
Let me know. This was they didn't give the amount of production on this cigar, but it is a more limited of these Davidoff Limiteds.
Yeah.
This is more limited.
All right. Well, I have a source for that. I'm gonna check locally.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'll let you know.
I'm really curious on you with this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely smoke it. I'm gonna hold my last cigar for next week because I'm gonna tease for next week. Will, I'm gonna talk about some Letelier cigars. And the reason I'm going to hold off is I have more to smoke, and I want to give a more fair assessment of these cigars.
Is this the one that? Okay, I don't want to.
There's a couple. But I think there's 2. There's one that Stokey Santa was really high on that I don't have this week, and I kind of want to talk about both of them in the same breath.
You need to talk about that one too. Yeah. So
yeah, because they're both. You're going to see my assessment on them. They're both very worthy of talking about. But I'm going to hold it off till next week, and I'm going to tease. We're going to cover some Letelier next week.
Oh, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. That gives me even more time to smoke them. I've got several of these, and I want to give it a more fair assessment. How's that?
Yep. That sounds good.
Because I only smoked one of each of these, and it gives me a chance to smoke more.
Yep, I think that's a good idea.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That concludes Stogie Geeks for this week. As Will alluded to, next week is July 4th. Correct? Is that Monday, July 4th?
Next week, yep.
So go spend time with family and have cookouts and do the American thing and light off fireworks and all that stuff. And then the following week, we'll be back.
We'll be back,
July.
Yep, bigger and better than ever.
That's it. And I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in on YouTube. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube, to our YouTube channel. You can find a link on thestoigeeks.com to subscribe to us on YouTube, where we broadcast every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, except for next week. That gives you 2 weeks to go find our YouTube channel and subscribe. So when we come back, we'll have even more live listeners. And again, you can get the entire archive of Stogie Geeks shows in audio on StogieGeeks.com. And check out the latest cigar news and reviews at cigar-coop.com. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you in 2 weeks.